Hi there, it's your close personal friend, Lou Brutus. Very pleased to be joined via Zoom from Los Angeles, California by Diamond Rowe and Josh Fore of Tetrarch. Good to see you. How are you?
We're good. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you for having us.
Well, first of all, let's go into some background on the group. Of course, you're not originally from LA. You are from around Atlanta, Georgia, and have been together for quite some time. So let's go back to ye olden days of the group and your involvement and your music and take it from there.
Well, I think the only way to start that story is to go all the way back to I think the seventh grade. Me and Diamond went to the same middle school together. We were like, 12 years old? Something like that. And I can remember being in English class, I think it was. And I was doing this right here, kind of just chilling, leaning back in my chair. And this lady who I'd never met before decides to pull a desk out from behind me and sends me falling backwards. And I just turned around and was like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And I guess like, "Hi, I'm Diamond." So yeah, that was my introduction to Diamond. And then basically we just became, after a little bit, became really good friends with each other. Me and a friend were jamming at our old school together. He played drums and Diamond was getting into guitar, and she hit up our friend and wanted to be in the band. And my idiot self was like, "No, I don't want a girl in our band." I was like 12 years old, And anyways, long story short, she ended up coming over and jamming, and within 10 seconds of playing together, I was like, "This is amazing. This is magic." Like,
it couldn't have been that great, Lou. Like, no. Let me just say, like, it couldn't have been that great.
It felt right.
I think we jammed like old time rock and roll and stuff, just stuff like that. And we, from that point on, just started, playing our school and local shows. And it's been a journey from the beginning. Like, we went through every stage of this. So, but it started in the seventh grade. So,
Now, that early, were you able to get gigs around there, even if it was playing the talent show? Or did you essentially just play in somebody's basement or garage? Because, again, I knew a ton of groups growing up. Some of the guys went out and turned pro. This is where all this stuff starts for everybody.
All of the above. We played birthday parties, our parents' basements, all the way to talent shows, to local shows. Finally, I think when we turned like 17, we played our first local show at a venue outside of Atlanta called The Seven in Douglasville, Georgia. That was our first show. And it progressed from there. But yeah, I think we were about 17 when we got our first started playing our first local gigs,
When you're in a band at that point, it's my belief that the same sort of things that plague super successful later in years rock bands plague bands when they're still in a garage. People argue about songs and set lists. Does that stuff go all the way back for you as well?
I don't think so. I mean, there's always going to be differing opinions, but we're usually really good about, even from the beginning, working out, amongst ourselves. Like, we ultimately have always wanted to do what's best for Tetrarch and for the goal that we have as a band. So we never let that get in the way of our own egos or personal opinions. So, if I'm stuck on a set list idea and I'm like, "No, it needs to be this," but Diamond comes to me, he's like, "No, we should try this." Like, we're always going to try it. And a lot of times, like, "All right, yeah, you're right. Let's change this up. Forget what I said." We're very open to working with each other and with everybody in the band to make sure we're kind of.
And it really helps too that we it's weird, but that we started together so early. We were able to formulate this core and a way of doing things from so early on that we're all family. We know how to communicate with each other. So if there is any kind of difference of opinions, we know what to do to go about, fixing those, so we haven't had any major issues. We know how to get through most of them. And I think it comes from just us starting together so early, from kids to this point. We know each other so well. So.
Now, at what point, as a way of sort of bridging from ye olden days to more modern times for the group, at what point do you two figure out this is something we actually want to do for a living, and we can write our own material and not just cover, old time rock and roll from Bob Seger? What was the point? Was there, a moment where you said, wow, we can write our own stuff and do this?
So pretty early on, I mean, we played cover songs and stuff like that for, what would you say, Diamond, like 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And pretty quickly we were like, hey, let's write our own songs. We've always had the dream and the goal of being one of the biggest like metal hard rock bands in the world. And we have that same goal from day one. So we quickly wanted to write songs. I mean, they were not good. Like I pulled up our very first song recently when we were in Atlanta with family. It was like, I found this at my house, like, listen to this. And like, I mean, it's not a horrible song, but it's not great. I mean, we've always been writing since we were so young and have gone through a lot of bad songs and demos and just versions of ourselves, but we've always just been trying to progress and get better as a band, as an artist. And I would say like 2012, 13 was when we probably got more like, okay, people are starting to talk about us. We're getting approached by some industry like labels and things are on us. It's time to go just full throttle, 100%. And I mean, I went to a year of college and was like, this is not for me. It's time to be in a band and let's go. So, we've always had the goal of doing this from day one, but I would say like 2012, 13, around there is when we really started to push.
Yeah.
And Josh, to backtrack very quickly, that song that you recently discovered, the old embarrassing one, it went how? Could you sing some off the top of your head? Because I'm a jerk, so I want to embarrass you.
I can just grab a guitar and play it real quick.
Oh yeah, do it, man. I'm dead serious. Do it.
I don't think your listeners want to hear that.
Oh no, they want to hear that more than anything.
No.
Well, the thing is, he could never recreate it because he hadn't hit puberty yet.
Exactly.
So his voice, he said, it was higher. It was higher than mine. It sounded. I don't even know. So
I have a high voice now. So just imagine when I was 13. So.
Dogs barking all over the neighborhood every time you sing a note.
Exactly.
So when you guys first start getting this label interest and management interest around 2012, at this point, are you still in Atlanta or have you already made the jump to Los Angeles?
We were still in Atlanta. So actually we were in college, our first year of college, I think, when we started getting that interest. But yeah, we were still in Atlanta at the time. I went to University of Alabama for a year, so that is where I was. But I remember, I was going back and forth every weekend, playing with them and stuff. So yeah, it's around then.
And what were the reasons for the jump to LA? Because other than the obvious, LA is sort of a mecca for the entertainment world. What is the music scene like in Atlanta at that time? Because my understanding of it is, it's a good town, but not a great town for rock bands. And a lot of the rock bands that have broken out of Georgia have actually broken out of the college towns, some of the smaller cities around the state. What is Atlanta like at this point when you leave?
Well, it was interesting because I think we were one of those bands in the local scene at the time that we unintentionally rubbed a lot of bands wrong because we always had our goals set on something like so much bigger. So like we were that band, a lot of local bands at the time, it was like, let's play shows and then let's go drink together and like, let's talk about how good we all are together. You know what I'm saying? But we were very much like that band. We were so serious. We would play shows and then we would film them and go back home and watch the show back and see what we did wrong. And like, we always just kind of had like, we wanted to get somewhere. And it was never a slight to anybody, but we never felt like we had a connection to a scene. Yeah. So for us, when we moved to LA, it wasn't about like connecting to any scene. Cause I think at that point we had started a little bit transcending like a local band, but it was about kind of getting out of our comfort zone and getting into another environment where we were surrounded by the people that we would talk to day to day, whether that's SiriusXM or whether that's, managers or labels or even merch printing, anything we needed was all here. So it just was like kind of a convenience move for us to come here. And it made it easy because we weren't tied to really any local scene or anything like that. We were always kind of like outcasts that kind of did our own thing. So that made it pretty easy.
And Diamond, at that point, was any of the negative reaction you were getting from other local Atlanta bands driven by the fact that you were still pulling chairs out from under people, or it was just a band thing?
Metaphorically speaking, maybe.
There you go. That's a good answer. That's an excellent answer. So anyway, let's talk some specifics about the latest record, because it's a phenomenal piece of work, and it's a real jump, even given the quality of the earlier stuff. And let's go in order. Let's start with "I'm Not Right." Background on the song and any sort of explanations you can give.
Yeah, that was like the very first, I think, even like instrumental demo that we had for the album. I think we were all over here. It was like Thanksgiving, I think. And we put down just a rough skeleton of a song, and we just put it away on our computers, and we're just like, all right, we'll deal with that later. Because we knew we had basically a year to write a new album. And a lot of times you just don't even touch the first thing you did. So when we went to the studio, we still liked the demo. But we had all these other songs that we were super stoked on and super high on, and "I'm Not Right" kind of got pushed to the back. But as everything came together, and once we started getting like vocals and Diamond's guitar layers and leads on it, it just became one of like our favorite songs. We knew like this has to be the first one we release. And I think that song was kind of a perfect blend and introduction for a lot of people to who Tetrarch is. It was heavy, it's catchy, it's got guitar leads, it's got screaming, it's got clean singing, it's got kind of everything that we like to do as a band in one song. And I think that lyrically that song really connected with a lot of people. I know, like, for me, it's like sometimes you look in the mirror, you wake up and you're like, I don't like where my life is heading. I don't like the direction things are going. And you just want to do anything you can to just kind of break out of that cycle and just kind of pull yourself out of it. And that was kind of the vibe behind that song. And it's really connected with a lot of people.
You know, from the sound of the instrumentals, and then when you look a little deeper, when you begin to read the lyrics, it would seem from all of the songs on this record, there is a lot of pent up frustration in your lives, which is kind of odd because you seem like pretty happy, well-adjusted human beings. Where does it come from though? Where do you go? Where do you dredge those emotions from for songs like this?
You know, I think that like everyone has their struggles, like whether, you know, you can be the most optimistic person like myself and Diamond and still like be dealing with things that people have no idea about, you know? And I think that for us, it's like, there's just we have a lot of pent up like frustration and angst from even just doing this for how long we have, and just like some of the negative attention people have given us over the years, from even going back to like local bands to industry people. Like we've had a lot of like just things thrown our way that we've just always pushed through and persevered through. And this album was a chance to kind of have some songs about that, like just, hey, F you, like we're doing our own thing. And also we drew inspiration. I drew from like even people close to me, friends and family, that I see what's going on in their lives and can kind of pull kind of what they're going through and maybe vocalize what they're not able to say. So I think we do a little bit of that as well.
Another song I'd love to ask about is You Never Listen.
Yeah, that song was definitely one of those that's like, we all have those relationships in life, whether it's friends, family, significant others, and sometimes even like with yourself, that like you just feel like you're stuck in a toxic situation and you need to get rid of these people in your life. And that's kind of a song where it's just like, all right, enough's enough. I'm done with you. Like I just got to cut ties. And that's one of my favorite songs on the album. It was kind of my baby too. Like it was a demo that I always really liked. And when Diamond helped me with the chorus, even like at the beginning stage of the song, I was like, all right, I really want this song to be super killer. And we're super happy with how it came out, and the response has been really good so far. Yeah,
I imagine for the two of you, as I've found with so many artists in the bazillions of years I've spoken to people doing this, it's got to be great therapy for taking shit things in life and turning it into something positive, getting some art out of it. Agree, disagree?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, and we're the epitome of that. Just like I said, we started so young in like a local scene that literally hated our guts. And, people go, like any band who goes through this tough industry or anything, we love it. We love every part of it. We love the good. We love the bad. We're super happy people, for the most part. But, you do hear things that get you down sometimes on your journey, and you just have to, get through them. You have to be mentally strong enough to get through them. So we're totally the epitome of that.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm like most proud of for our band is just how much we've persevered and never stopped. Like a lot of bands just stop when anything gets rough. They quit. Like when we would break down in the middle of nowhere in our van and trailer, we would be cracking up, dying laughing. We thought it was hilarious, because we always just saw it as like
a means to an end. Yeah. Like this, we have to do this to get to where we want to go. And so we always laughed about it. Everything was like, I would rather be on the side of the road in Montana and -2-degree weather than, in a cubicle or something, doing something I don't want to do. So we always looked at it like, okay, we got to get through this to get to where we want to go. And that's kind of how we got through everything.
Yeah, and you guys understand it. I mean, whether it's in the rock and roll business or anywhere else, sometimes the greatest grist for the mill of success is people dumping on you or treating you like crap because, anytime I doubt myself or doubt what I'm trying to do, I just think back to every girl who dumped me and I thought, oh, fucking shoot her. You'll be sorry. You'll wish, but that's.
Were they ever sorry?
Who knows? None of them never talk to me. So, and one can hardly blame them, but it doesn't mean I still can't use it for grist for the mill. But it's awesome. You can turn all that stuff around. And perhaps this next, the song and the excellent video for it kind of tie into that. Negative Noise. It might be my favorite tune from you guys. And again, the video is great. Let's talk about the song first. And then secondly, I'd like to talk about the production of the video song.
Yeah. So Negative Noise, that was like in the first batch of songs we started demoing for the record. We knew we wanted, we had done a couple like hooky ones already. We had them demoed out and I was like, okay, it's time for a banger. So, I sat down, started demoing out some riffs. It's in drop A, so it's tuned pretty low. So, you kind of approach writing riffs a little differently and with such a low tuning. But anyways, started writing these super chuggy riffs. And we knew always we like to keep like those heavy choruses. I mean, those melodic choruses, catchy hook choruses. But we wanted it to be something heavy that had a solo in it. And we kind of approached it like that. Like when we're writing, sometimes we kind of separate like, okay, this one seems like it's coming out to be kind of like a straightforward, like hooky anthem. And then sometimes we're like, okay, this one's going to be a banger. This is like for the pit guys. And that's kind of like what this one was. So it was really cool putting that one together.
Yeah, I actually remember, I don't know what Diamond was doing in here because I was out for the day. And it was like early morning. She's like, Josh, I'm working on something. I'm working on a song. And like, 14 hours later, she sent a demo, and it was like, I would say how the structure of the song is right now, it was probably 80% of the way there, 85%. Like she just, I don't know what she did, just powered through all day. And we heard it and we're just like, man, this is really heavy and super, super sick. So that was definitely one we were like, just really excited about. And I think our producer, Dave Otero in Colorado, he's like the heavy guy. Like he's does bands like Cattle Decapitation and, that kind of stuff. So
all that weak radio shit. No.
Right. No. He has a good ear for like the catchier side of things that we do and harmonies and all that. But I think one thing with a song like Negative Noise, he was able to help us have our heavier parts become even heavier and hit even harder. So it was kind of a cool dynamic and real cool how that song kind of just came together.
And to go back into the story a little bit, Diamond, to you, Josh saying, yeah, so in the morning I go out, she's working on this song. 14 hours later, here's this completed song. And I suddenly got this mental picture of you not realizing how much time has gone by, where you're like a dog on a bone, like 14 hours later, the sun's passing by in the sky and you don't notice. And
let me tell you, like, I have this weird thing, and, you know, like, if you hear in our songs, like, you hear all these guitar sounds, like these like horn weird, like, I can sit there with pedals and sounds and tinker for hours. Like, and I'm not a patient person. Like, I'm not a very patient person, but there's something about doing that and adding layers that just, I can get lost in it. Like our producer, when he was like going through some of this stuff, he's like, how high were you when you did this? I'm like, I wasn't high at all. I just get lost in like sounds. Like, so that's pretty accurate. Like when he came in, I probably had been tinkering with sounds and glitch effects and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, where did this come from?
so what's the plan for the rest of the year?
So obviously our album drops April 30th. We're going to be dropping a few more videos. We're planning on doing quite a bit of videos for this record, actually. We have some other cool stuff planned, some like exclusives with a lot of magazines and stuff that are really cool that are going to be coming out. And then we've also already started getting some show offers and some tour offers. We've already signed a few. And so we are just looking forward to, hopefully our plan was to be on the road for 2 years for this record. So we're hoping that by fall, or, you know, late summer, but fall and on, we can get back on the road and just tour on this album relentlessly. That's the goal. So if everything pans out with, you know, COVID and everything, that's what we're going to do.
And one last thing I meant to cover earlier, the video for Negative Noise. How'd you all get it done?
That one was, so we were still in Atlanta. We had done You Never Listen a couple weeks before it. And we really liked how that one came out. So we called the same director, had him fly in from LA. We actually rented the same warehouse, just a different room that we did You Never Listen in. We would have no idea by looking at it. But that was a video.
Now that you know all our secrets.
Yeah.
Exactly. LA, Los Angeles is a city of deceit. You know, it's the coin of the realm. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
No, but it was just a really cool video. We wanted something that had that kind of like dark, eerie vibe to it, and we like videos that kind of make you think. Like, we don't like being super literal with what the song lyrics are and videos necessarily. We just want something that kind of gets the vibe and the eeriness of the song. And our director Vicente, he came to us with a really kind of cool idea that we were able to get with him and tweak together and come up with something really cool, which became Negative Noise.
Yeah. It's always like super important for us to like be visible in our videos too, because we consider ourselves a live band. So like, we like people to see us playing as much as possible. But we also like that storyline. I think with the storyline, it was kind of like, you know, we kind of like the old school thing where the band's kind of a lot of time the actors in the video. And so with this one, it was like we were in some like
crazy scientist.
Crazy scientist like lab or something, being poked and prodded basically with, I don't know, we escape.
Yeah, we're like surrounded. Basically, it's like we're surrounded by static, and that's like a line that's in the song, and it just kind of represents all that like negative noise and energy that's constantly around us in just a day-to-day life. And so like throughout that video, you see all the static TVs, you see the crazy doctor, us trying to escape. And one of the coolest parts is there's these static faces on the masks. And those are like our faces. So like when we're running from the static, it's like we're running from ourselves. It's really kind of cool. It turned out killer, like way even beyond what I was hoping.
And I would have to think that for as excited as I would imagine your families can be about the success you've had and albums and airplay and all that stuff, when they see in a video, like a professionally made video, that's got to like get a different sort of reaction from the aunts, uncles, grandmas of the world.
My dad is the most hyped person ever. Like he sees the video and he's just like, this is amazing. This is going to be huge. Like, well, that just loves it. Same your dad too.
Yeah, they're super proud. Like, you know, my dad's been in the music business for a long time, so he's always like, he'll see something and be like, that's great, now we have to do this. Like, he's always like, oh God, can we just enjoy this moment? But no, they're like our biggest fan. Our families are our hugest fans. Like, they all, like, we'll be with them still like kids, and I'm like, you should check out her band. And I'm like, God, no.
Yeah, no, so they're out in public, they're like, have you heard of Tetrarch? And I'm like,
oh God.
It's pronounced Tetrarch, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But they're super stoked on it. We have a really good support system. So.
Mm-hmm.
See, and by the way, Diamond, obviously your dad, has been in the music business because he knows that the only thing that any success gets you is more challenges to get more success. It's a vicious cycle. It never, you look at the Rolling Stones, they've been around for 60 years and they're still like, how do we sell out the next tour? How do we make another,
Exactly.
it just.
He'll literally just tell me and Josh, like, you're at the bottom of the mountain now. It's time to climb. We're like,
he's like, you got through the mud. Now you got to go to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations. You made it to the mountain.
Yeah.
Now you got to climb the mountain. Now's the hard part.
Exactly.
And Diamond, if I may add, because I don't know this, what has your dad done? Who is your dad? What has he done?
So my dad he's like an arena tour promoter. So he's been in the industry for almost 50 years now, but he's worked with Prince and Michael Jackson, and he's pretty much everybody, literally everybody he's done tours for. So he's like an independent promoter, but yeah, he's been doing that his whole life. That's all I've ever known.
Yeah.
So.
Does that mean, you guys have been going to concerts since you're in middle school, that dad was, hey, let's bring the band out to see Prince or Michael Jackson or somebody?
Yeah. I mean, I think he did like an R. Kelly tour in 2008, and he took me and Josh back there. He didn't like us to go backstage too much, but he took me and Josh back there for that and let us take in that experience. I saw a Prince tour he did. Michael Jackson used to call my house every now and then when I
get out of here. Did you ever answer the phone when Michael was on? I did twice. Well, tell me about Michael Jackson, even if it was for 10 seconds.
Well, it was really interesting. He there was 2 times. One, he was on the phone with my dad, and my dad let him say hello. But another time he calls, but when he would call, he would always like disguise his voice because he was very different. So he never knew he was going to get on the other line. So one time he called and he kind of had a little disguise on his voice going. But my dad knew who that was when I was like, oh, it's somebody, on the phone. I don't know who it is. And, it was him, but he would sometimes he just didn't, he was Michael Jackson. So he was a strange guy, but yeah, it's crazy. At the time though, as a kid, that didn't mean anything to, I was just like, whatever. But looking back, I'm like, man, that's super cool. That's a really cool environment to grow up in. But when I was a kid, I knew, I've had dinners at the Jackson's house with Janet and the family and everything. But I was young. I didn't care, it was just oh, this is cool. But now I'm like, damn, that's really cool. Especially doing what I'm doing now. I was just in it, so I don't know. It's really cool.
And one more quick aside, but I've seen nearly everybody there is to see the last 40 years or so. I never saw Prince, and I could kick myself in the head for it. What was that guy like on stage? Because everybody the 2 people I missed, and one I had tickets for a couple of times, was Queen with Freddie Mercury, but I was sick both times. And I thought, well, I'll get to see Queen again. And I never got the chances. They stopped touring in the US. So I never saw Freddie Mercury. I never saw Prince. And everybody tells me, well, you've seen everybody except the 2 greatest performers ever in life. So tell me about Prince. It's
really funny. My dad was doing the tour. What tour is that? Musicology. It was one of those tours, and he was playing in Vegas. So he had me and my mom fly out to Vegas to meet him, and he wanted us to go to the show. I did not want to go to the show. I'm just going to tell you that. I was like, I don't want to go. Can I stay in the hotel? My dad's like, no, you need to come see this. He's great. And I'm like, I really don't want to go. Can I just stay? They drugged me to the show, and I am so glad I went. I didn't realize how phenomenal of a musician that he is. He just, I was, like I said, I was younger. So, I mean, amazing guitar player, amazing just with the audience. From the time he steps out on stage, his aura, it's just otherworldly. Like, you don't see that a lot, today, especially with like entertainers and just being superstars. And that's what he was. It was a really, really good show, and hit after hit after hit,
And you being a guitar player, talk a little bit about him as a guitarist, because I think what some people don't understand is, because they see the image of Prince and the purple this or the purple that and all of the things he did, they don't realize that the guy was considered one of the greatest guitar players to ever live. What was it about his playing that made him so good?
I think he just had that feel, you can have, like, and I say it all the time today, there are so many guitar players that are technically better than they have ever been. Just amazing, amazing guitar players. But a lot of times you still don't know the difference between them and the next one, because there's nothing that makes them stand out, like whether it's their style or their attitude, or, even if you take it to like your Zach Wilds and your Dimebags and Kirk Hammett, like those guys, they might not be as good as one of your YouTube players, but like they have it, and I think that's like with Prince, he was very in tune to his music, and his playing was just like he felt every note. He laid into every note, and he played for his music, like for the songs. And it's special to have that. Like, some people don't realize that that's just as, if not as important as, your technical ability. It's just your that it factor in your feel. And that's just what he had. He was very, very serious about his music. Even from hearing stories from my dad and stuff, he was just very, very, he took everything very, very seriously. And you can tell when he hit the stage,
And that's why he was Prince.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I'm sorry to have extended the interview so much with that side thing there, but that was fascinating to speak to you about. And I'm really happy for you all. I know it's been a tough road for everybody the last year or so, but I'm glad to see you guys with such excellent new music and chomping at the bit to get back out. So Josh and Diamond from Tetrarch in Los Angeles, thank you very, very much. I'll see you in the flesh sometime soon, I hope.
Absolutely.
Hopefully so. Hopefully at a show.